Hello. First of all, I'm Carlos. My name is Car Store in the Discord. I'm just gonna give a quick overview of of Foundry and of the Alien modules for it. I also have the core book and the Destroyer of Worlds modules set up. First of all, um, Foundry doesn't always look like this. There's a couple things here, on here, and other details that depend on the modules that we have. So I think the first thing is to show you the modules that I would recommend that anybody who's playing the Alien RPG on Foundry use. First is the premium ones, the one you have to pay for. Um, if you own the starter set and Destroyer Worlds, I would suggest that you only really need to get the core rule book. I'm lazy and didn't want to do any setup, so I got the other two to have to be able to have Destroyer Worlds and have Chariot of the Gods. But it's not that necessary. The core rule book is enough to get you started quick enough. I'll show you what it does to have that installed in a bit. Then there's Dice So Nice. This basically allows the rolls of 3D dice. Let me show you. They'll look like the alien ones. So we just roll it. There we go. We got the dice. There's a little bug. It's easy to fix. So if anybody wants to ask me on Discord, I'll let you know how to do that. What's important though is that if you don't have Dice So Nice installed, you only get the results on the chat. Like you do in Roll20. You won't get anything else. There's a dice tray, which I always like having. It's not necessary for the Alien RPG, especially because it doesn't have the alien dice. But it's just easy to make rolls with it. It's this little thing in the bottom, and like if you're using D&D, it also lets you set up advantage really easily, and it's just convenient. So I like having it. Then there is P point and pings. This doesn't come with a Foundry doesn't have a ping system like Roll20, but if you if you install it, then you'll have the ping. See how I'm pinging there. You also have like ping, and it will draw all the players' attentions to where you ping. So that's quite nice. It has other symbols other than that one. That's the one that I'm going to be using, but it has other symbols. We'll take a look at how to change that. The quick ink search widget is very important because I just press Control F. It does it every time you load for the first time, but it will index everything, all your journal notes, all your items. So that just makes it all your actors. That's just going to make it easier to get. I'll just talk about that once it finishes. Oh, there we go. So I look for pulse. I'll look for the different guns. The pole rifle. I don't know whether there are various versions. It might be because I have not organized this properly, and it has both the starter set version and the core, or not. I don't know. But anyway, that's a way that you can get. You can also look for actors. Let me see. Let's say there's like Silva's an actor, and Silva's agendas too. So that's quite convenient. I really like the show art. So what show art does is if I have selected a token and I right click to have all the options I get, I can just click here and it'll allow me to show the arts to the players. That's particularly fun when dealing with Xenos, but also like if you want to show off an NPC, there you go. Like, hey, this is the woman who's bartending here. So that's quite cool. I have the soundboard, which it took me it's a little weird to set up, but once you do, it's quite easy to just like click on something and it'll bring up the sounds. So That's cool. The furnace, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I really don't know what it does, but it apparently makes macros better. There's some functionality that I've gotten used to in Foundry, which has to do with the furnace. It's just like people told me from the first day I installed Foundry that I needed to have it, so I always have it on. It's apparently really good. I'm not sure what it does, uh, but it's important. It also helps with some of the macros that apparently the alien modules comes. The turn marker is just something that lets you people know, like it marks people's turn, and that's a good way to like know whose turn is it. I just like it. It's convenient. Those are the ones that I use. There's hundreds more, and some people will use a little more. There's a lot that I use more for other games, but for Alien RPG, I think those are the ones that you need. Um, Once you got selected, it's good to go into configure settings. You go to module settings, and you'll see all your modules, and you'll see that there's some stuff that you have to do to make them look better, or work the way that you like the tone marker. You can change the actually image used by the. Let's look for one that looks a little bit more. That looks a little bit more sci-fi. That doesn't, but still, I really don't care about that much. But you can make your own term marker. Same with all the other models. There's a lot of different things you can do. You can there's a like the Daiso Nice has tons of customization on how they look like. You have two versions of the Alien RPG dice: the full dice and the black ones, which just show the symbols and won't show the numbers. I don't like that one. I like to know the numbers. It's a thing. I have. There's special effects for the dice. There's a bunch of things. So all in all, those are great things. Moving over here, let's go from right to left. We'll have the compendium. This is basically stuff that's not necessarily at the moment part of your game. It's like the books. So if you like kind of click like a Alien RPG, Chariot of the God Species, you'll have all the PCs there. You can either right click here, it's like import out content, and it'll import all those actors into your current game, or you can come and do it manually, whatever you prefer. One thing that newcomers should read is that somewhere along here, there's this mother instructions. So you should. This is the instructions for all the instructions. Paul has made a good work of making the instructions a lot better than they used to about how to use the alien module. Ooh, there was a last thing I forgot that's very important. You can configure Alien RPG settings. This is only about font and color. I actively dislike the color that comes preset up, which is a very bright green, so I choose a less toned down green. And also the font that comes with, I don't like it much. I feel it's not very nice to read. So Calibri, it's kind of like the font that I even use at my work. It's just so easy to read that I've always used it and I like it. Then like if you have purchased the core set or any of the other two modules, the starter set or the destroy world, then you're gonna have a bunch of items and stuff here. The good thing about them is that if you go to manage module, configure settings, you can just click import here, and instead of like going to the compendium and importing folder by folder, it'll import everything for you. There's a couple of bugs with it, nothing too major, but it's being fixed, and it'll probably be released in a couple of days. Then there's music, so you can create your playlist, and then you can just press plus here to go and look at your files and your Foundry files to get the music that you wanted into the playlist. The reason why I use different playlists is we'll see when we get to the scenes, but basically you can configure different scenes of the game to use different music. So I think it's nice to have that kind of like to control that automatically. Then there's the tables. Now I don't touch this. The good thing about this module, especially if you have the core set rules and you installed the Furnace module, come here and you look for the alien roller and the alien and the mother table. So the alien roll, you can just pick any creature in the game and then roll, and it'll roll for you the special attack. I have selected a token, that's why it says that it was rolled by the android, but most of the time, you just have your monster selected and it will work perfectly fine. Another thing though is that I don't use this much because each actor, I'll show you later, for creatures have those tables. But in case you're making your own like monsters that doesn't necessarily, it's not part of the game, then you can use those tables if possible. I do like to be able to roll on selected mother table, and we have here like not just the critical injuries, the synthetics, and the xenomorph. Critical injury, just draw, and then you get what happens. You get your own roll. This is all GM rolls. Like people won't be seeing them. You also have like specific roles that are part of the scenarios. Like for example, the angry mob from the spaceport in Destroyer Worlds. So that's kind of cool about that. That you have those, and if you're like making your missions like for a campaign, it'll also try for you. It's like there you go, mission generated, mission assault description, and everything. So I think that's very cool, and that's very easy to use. So those are the tables. Then let's go to the journal. Journal has everything. Basically, it has how to use the core set rules, how to use the Destroyer Worlds rules, a Alien RPG rules index, which you should make available to your players, so your players can just open that and they want to know how to roll dice. They just click here and they get the core set rules for that. So if you bought the core set, you get this. Every time you click on it, it's opening another window, so you have to click close to go back to this one, or you can, if you want to open and compare, you can click on a couple and have them open like that. So that's quite good. I think it's easier to use than the one in Roll20 a lot. So that it's, like I said, it's a good thing. As you see, when you have a journal a journal item, there's a side that's text and a side that's image. You can use them. You can set them up independently that way, or some are going to be text, some are going to be image. But the cool thing about this is that all you got, if you're making a special thing, they handout you want to show your players, you put the description, you put the image on the other side, upload it, and you got it. Anything else about journal? Oh, this is my favorite thing about journals. I was almost going to miss this. So you see this little book things? So let's go for the Destroyer War scenarios. And see, I made this was something that I did last night really quick. So I made an Eye of Oblivion folder. And what I did was, I took the description from the Eye of Oblivion that you have in the Destroyer World scenarios, and each little thing divided into another journal page. For example, this Control Dancer. And then, once you got that, the only thing you need to do, you drag it out and it makes a map note. which you have a bunch of different symbols for it. I use the book when it has to do with just lore or just like information. You can change the so let's update the map node. So when you hover over it, it'll tell you the name. If you double right click, it would start. You can just change all this info, the tint of the icon, the size of the icon, the font size, and where the text is, a bunch of different things. You can also quickly change what journal entries that icon representing. And the cool thing about this is that, if you're like, you describing a room to your players and they, you don't need to memorize anything. They go into the room where their security cameras are, and then you just double click on it, and you can give them the description. You can also show players, and now players can see it. If you actually give permission, if you go here and configure permissions, and you give all players observer permission or owner permission over it, they're going to be able to see this on the map too. So that way they can click on it. So if you want to like set up your scenes that way that the players can see, the players can like investigate it by themselves, you can drop this little books or other icons. And like in my D&D games, I use when I'm making a trap, this is the way that I put them on the map. So I know when there's going to be an encounter, I put the description of the encounter there, list all the enemies, and then just drag them out from the accurate list when the fight starts. If they bother you, you can just come while you click this one, which is the one that has to deal with the icons. You click here, and you click here, and they disappear when you're not looking at notes. If you click here, and then you go back, it'll always be there. So that's kind of like important to note. There's the items, like I told you. I'm going to skip around to actors before showing you the items. So, quick view of the character sheet. So definitely, it does not look better than the Roll20 character sheet. That looks just like the printed one or a PDF one. And it has a little bit of a learning curve. Instead of the Roll20 one, it's very self-explanatory. Though after you learn how to use it, I think this is better than the Roll21, except for one thing, which I'll get to. Basically, the way it works, everything here is clickable. Strength is clickable. It'll roll with strength. Stress is clickable. It'll roll. This is a panic roll, basically. If you have stress, it'll automatically roll it. If you gain experience, you left click to add it, and you right click to remove it. Same with radiation. Same with the conditions. Right click to add, right click to eliminate. If you have something like, if you have power, for example, power, that's my issue. Forget about power. But if you have food and you want to, or air, this is all tied to the inventory. This is my consumables is the thing that I don't like a lot about this. But this character sheet, we'll get to that. But for example, you can just roll armor by clicking it. Pretty cool. You choose the career, the appearance, signature items, personal agendas. You write down what you want. Critical injuries. Very like self-explanatory. Here it gets a little bit more interesting. You have skills. Click on them. Good thing is this is tied to some items that you define in the item here. Skill stunts. If you click here, you'll get an explanation of all the stunts related to that skill. So that's quite good and quite convenient. If any of the things that I've clicked today, or right now, if you right click instead of left click, it'll bring a window where you can put modifiers to stress, and base modifiers. So if your DM tells you that, or you tell your players that they have to do the roll with a -2 modifier or a +2 modifier, they just have to right click and roll it. Good thing also is that when it rolls in chat, you can do pushes automatically. Now, if you have the talent to do multiple pushes, it won't do it for you. The way to do it is to count how many dice you need to reroll, and you should get all your players to have this macro, the Alien Player Ad Hoc YC. I don't know why it has such a long name. You just click it and you click how many base dice and how many strange dice. So pretty self-explanatory. Also, like if your players don't want to deal with like with a character sheet like this one and they want to use the regular one, like a printed version one, you can just use the GM dice roller and the player dice roller, so they can just input the dice and keep rolling them like that and just play it manually. You get to also put the talents here. They're items. You can just go look for talents and drag them here, and there you got a talent there. You can right click here to edit. If you edit inside of the character sheet, it will only change it for that character. If you edit in the item section, every new one that you attach to players will come with those edits. So they do not modify your player at all. So if you have stuff like tough that gives 2 health, then you have to do it manually. You can't just do it automatically. So health is completely self-defined. It's not defined by anything. You can and everything here is self-defined. It's not tied to anything. You can also put the agendas here, which is very convenient. Their agendas are items, so you can search for items here, and you'll have everybody's agendas, and you can just drag them. So if we go on to Act 2, just look for Act 2, that's the agenda, and there you go. That has its second act agenda. Let's delete it for now, though. Inventory. So inventory works like I said. You basically drag items out, weapons, everything. You look for everything. Let's look for a gun, and you drag it out, and you'll manage your encumbrance here. You can delete it. You can make the weapons and everything yourself, or if you bought the core set, then you'll have everything ready, which is pretty nice. And then if you double click on the icon, it'll make it inactive, which is a way to know which one is being used at the moment. And if you double right click, that's a little confusing, like the fact that it's sometimes double left click and sometimes double right click, it'll make it inactive again. The issue though, and everything's self-explanatory here. What armor gets added automatically. Food, if you're having items that have to do with food or water or air, gets added automatically. If you have to do items that have to do with power, they get added automatically too. And you can come here and you can roll it. And if you get a fail, let me roll until I get a fail. If I get a fail, it will lower the number automatically, and it will lower the number automatically in the item too. So you'll see now the power is 4. Issue though, if you have multiple items that have power, let's say if Dante had a motion tracker 2, it would add itself. And so instead of power 5 here, you have power 10, and then you will roll 10 die, and then it will take out the results from both items. So in order to use power effectively, you have to constantly making sure that you only have as an active item or weapon only one that has a power value. I really hope Paul, who's the creator of this, comes up with a solution for that, because I find it very uncomfortable, and I don't like it. Really, I don't. Then there is the description here. That's very self-explanatory, and you can, with a click, make it an NPC or make it a player. just clicking here. Finally, so the way you get actors is you have actor um, this actor window here. You can create new actors. It can be a character, a synthetic. The character sheet's different slightly. If you're going to be using a synthetic that's posing as a character, you need to use a character sheet though, because you won't be able to roll for stress or anything. You get vehicles, you got creatures, and you got territory. You can make they work as actor territories here. I've deleted all the territories for this game because I'm not going to. The Destroyer World doesn't need them. Pick the folder where you're going to create it, and you just create a new actor. That's pretty simple. And then you can just drag them, and they'll automatically create tokens. There's a couple of things that have to do with here with the tokens and the image and positions that have to do with Foundry functionality. It's a lot of cool stuff. I like how tokens work here. Something, for example, that I like is that you can scale the image so it looks bigger, even though it's still occupying a square. That works for certain types of tokens. Makes it look pretty cool, but we're not doing this now. Let me make it one again. And you got a bunch of other things. With a click of a button, you can make it invisible for players. You can add it to combat or take it out of combat. That's pretty much it. You get scenes. You can do a lot of things with scenes. Let's configure a scene to see all the things we can do. We have the name here, if it's going to be in the navigation bar or not, if the navigation is going to be available to the GM or to all players. I do that like for world maps, like Ariarchus in Destroyer World. I will make it for all players, so no matter what we're doing, they can always go and look at it. The background color here, what type of grid you're using, all the details about the grid. Token visions, that means if going to show you now if there's going to be stuff that's going to be blocking or if you need light. If there's global illumination, the scene should have global illumination, I think. And yeah, the journal notes associated, ambience and atmosphere journal notes associated with this particular scene, the playlist that comes on once you activate it. And if you want to put a weather effect, let's put rain, for example. It'll come. It's not going to be raining inside a bar, but that's pretty cool. Let's take that effect out. If you have walls, so see, cool thing about Foundry is it has a bunch of different type of walls. You have like normal walls, which block sight and movement for tokens. You have terrain walls, which will always block movement, but it will only block light if it's two-sided. So, for example, let me draw an example here. So, imagine if there's like a pillar there, and you want people to look through the pillar. So, see how it's blocked. But if I'm in the middle of it, because I can see both through those walls, it won't be. So that's pretty cool. Terrain work. They worked a lot to kind of give flavor to your terrain. Invisible walls, ethereal walls. You can draw doors, which are pretty cool to use. You just click. There you go. Or you can right click as a GM to make it locked for players. Right now, that's a door that your player is going to be able to click and open. So that's pretty cool. The lightning system is pretty cool. Sadly, my kid has just awoken, so it's time for me to end the recording. The lightning system works really well. Like, there's a bunch of options for light. You can make a torch. You can make a pulse. You can change the color of the light. You can make it a local light, a global light that everybody can see from any part of the map, or a universal light, which doesn't get blocked by walls. With a click, you can turn it on or turn it off. And I think it's a great lightning system that is, in my opinion, miles ahead from Roll20. So that's basically it. There's a bunch of other things, but that gives you an overview. And I hope it helps if somebody's on the fence about Foundry versus Roll20. I hope this helps. I mean, I don't think Roll20 is bad. I use it for a long time, but I think Foundry is better. And that's all, folks.